Now, the Nigerian Labour has raised concerns over the delay in the implementation of the recently approved legislation, which ensures a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira for the workers. While some governors have commenced the payment, there are many workers who are still waiting on the implementation of the new minimum wage. In some states like Lagos and Rivers, workers have received more than the agreed amount. Joining us now to discuss this in further detail is Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Many thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure of being here as usual.
Now, given the current fiscal constraints in our country, how realistic is Labour's demand for immediate implementation of the new minimum wage across all tiers of government?
That's the agreement government has reached. But we run a federation.
Yes.
And I will illustrate that by saying fingers are not equal. See, the resources of all the states are not the same, even though they are equal legally. So it is an interplay. It's going to be an interplay of good industrial relations, collective bargaining, and negotiation with government. That is what has to be at play. Of course, because a federation is a nation of competing states. You have seen Lagos now showing its strength economically, it's paying above. But there are others who may not be able to pay as much because their resources are just not there. So we have to see what is on the ground in this state. And luckily, the NLC itself has considered. It's the state local governments that are negotiating with their state governors. So let us see how that evolves. That's how it is. It's a federation, a federal arrangement.
There was a report that came from Niger State Council of Nigeria Labour Congress that was saying that they will accept a delay in payment of their October salaries if that delay means that an increment can be reflected. Do you think that this is a worthwhile exploit, something that can be copied in other states? Should we be advocating that it's okay to delay salaries if when they're late it means there's an increment included?
So there is nothing for any state to copy. You have to cut your coat according to your cloth. You see, while Lagos has increased, Rivers has increased above because they have the means, although everybody knows that people are drifting there for economic reasons. But there are some states that a state said that, look, they have arrears of promotion. People have not been promoted for 4 years. That they should clear, the unions are telling the government that they should clear the arrears of promotion before paying something. So each state has its own peculiarities. So let the unions work it out. It is a law. It is there. So they have to meet it. And if they don't meet it, it is a federation. If some states are not able to meet it, the center should help out. That's the idea of a federation. It's not the confederation. It's a federation. Even those, in some federations in other climes, those states that have more resources, bail out other states. Get me? Because climatic conditions, so many things, get me, can catalyze inability to pay, affordability of government to pay this minimum wage. So many things. But we are a federation. And as things stand now, you have virile trade unions in almost all the states. So you can see how the negotiations are coming on. So there is no need for any state to copy any state. But if there is a state in need, economic need, maybe because of these floods we have now, because of banditry, this kidnapping, but we have some states who have immense resources that are being illegally mined and are not going to the coffers or the revenue base of those states. So let concrete, integrative industrial relations, collective bargaining, let us watch it take place between the state governments, the local governments, and all spheres of government so that they work out a livable wage. Livable for workers, affordable by government.
Well said. Livable wage and collective bargaining. I really appreciate that point, Mr. Sobowale. But I'm wondering how you might respond to the arguments that wage increases could further fuel inflation, potentially nullifying any of the benefits that it would have initially come to the workers.
And that's something we have to live with. Something we have to live with. And it's a spiral. Everybody knows if you give people more wages, the traders, the sellers will increase prices. It's an ongoing thing. That's why I said a livable wage. The moment you increase wages, you increase purchasing power, you increase consumption, literally, but then affordability comes in now. Because the prices, if cost of production, if the cost rises, prices will rise. Inevitably, the consumer will face it. Purchasing power will be depleted. It's an ongoing battle. Man is a social phenomenon, and we must live from day to day and from mouth to mouth. We must be fed from mouth to mouth. That's the work of governance. So the duty of government, especially the central bank, is to make sure that prices don't outrun inflation, such that the standard of living of people do not suffer unduly. But that is the economic challenges that people, consumers must face and producers must face. Until we have equilibrium, hopefully we have to get to a stage when people, with their whatever minimum wage they have, can be able to purchase minimum needs and live a comfortable life. That's the essence of governance and economic management.
Absolutely. And what about those those states that are insisting that they cannot offer any increase whatsoever to the minimum wage? Of course, there's threat of strike, industrial action. Do you think that's the correct recourse?
No, nobody said that. What they have said is that they just increased. Some governors, so immediately they came in, they were welfare-oriented, they increased the wages. Whether what they increased it to matches 70,000 is another issue. But let it be the product of collective bargaining between the state government. Because I was amazed that some workers in the state said, look, clear our areas of promotion first before you give us anything. Maybe they are bargaining that by the time they give them arrears, they will have more money than when they just make the increment to 70,000. But that's the peculiarity of their own state. Let them work it out. That's why we are a federation. That's nothing to be alarmed over. You get me? And what NLC is doing is to fraud government to be alive to its responsibilities. It's not a threat. I don't see it as a threat. You know, Nigeria, if you sit idly by, government can relax. That's what NLC is doing. It's not as if they are shouting woof where there is none. They say eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. That's how socialists work, and most of them are socialists. So they are being vigilant, and they are frauding government to its responsibility.
Fantastic. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Also, hashtag collective bargaining and hashtag livable wage, courtesy of our Rise News analyst, Mr. Dayo. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsday. We appreciate you as always.